And one of the things they said to us at the Guided Pathways Conference was, please tell us that you no longer have just an alphabetical list of programs on your website. And all of us at Erie kind of looked at each other and smiled and said, that's exactly what we have. So it's not a terrible thing to have an alphabetical listing of programs, but one of the Guided Pathways principles is that you should also have your programs presented in groupings that are a little bit more focused on careers or, transfer pathways. So we want to put together a small group. I anticipate this just being a couple meetings and we'll be done. And look at all of our 100 programs and try and put them into clusters that will be easy for students to kind of identify with and then be able to explore our programs in these new clusters. You can see the makeup of what we're suggesting. We want someone from admissions, we want another counselor, a couple teaching faculty. The executive committee thought we should have an instructional designer just because it's for the website. We want to make sure it's ADA compliant. I'll sit on the committee. Nate Wallace asked to be a part of it, and then Katie Marshall from Career Services.
Okay, so we just did another count and we hit 2/3, so we have quorum. So
With this, I'm hoping we will have, I hope that we'll meet once or twice in December, and then, or the end of November, December, we'll meet maybe twice, and then we'll present this to Paula, and it'll be ready for the new website.
great. Joanne, would you like to make a motion to approve this resolution? Okay.
Motion?
Second? John, thank you. Any discussion on the resolution? Michael?
I just want to just be sure that the intent really is only to kind of like examine the grouping of majors and programs and stuff like that, not any intent to have a structural change, which would definitely involve, negotiations with FFECC. By the way, Andy Sacco has frequently said that he's in favor of the concept of meta majors, so that wouldn't necessarily be a problem, but it is in the contract.
Okay, thank you. Joanne?
This grouping will not affect the organization behind the scenes of divisions, programs reporting to certain deans. Part of, for instance, on that is engineering science is under me and liberal arts, but in this, we'll probably group it for students with engineering programs. So, but no structural changes will happen because of this. It's more of a marketing difference.
Perfect. Thank you, Joanne. Any other questions or comments about the resolution? Okay, all those in favor? Raise your card. Thank you. Okay, those opposed? Abstain? Okay, and the motion passes. Thank you. So regarding that, we do have some ideas for the TBD individuals that are listed, but if you are interested or you know someone in your department who is interested, you can please email myself or Joanne Komarauer, and then we'll let everyone know who is the individuals on this committee. I'm going to call on Erickson. We have some very interesting and exciting news about our SUNY Erie ILOs. Let's see, I'll pull them up.
The General Education Committee, and really more of a testament to a lot of different faculty members, specifically including English, with their help in data collection for our SUNY ILOs, has resulted in what I would consider to be a remarkable and robust advancement in terms of us using assessment, using data, and presenting it here. And what the General Education Committee has discussed and voted on in approval are the 4 ILO reports that have been now sent to the Senate, to Colleen. And that includes the SUNY Erie ILO of written communication. There's one for oral communication, information literacy, and then critical analysis and reasoning. These were the 4 ILOs that were assessed during the 2018 and 2019 academic year. So what we would like is feedback now from the college as a whole. One of the things that we felt as a committee in response to our last Middle States visit was that this information tended to be very much housed in one area with General Education Committee. We really now want to spread this information out. And what we would like is feedback of these reports prior to the December meeting here at the Senate, and then have an opportunity to vote on these in approval of the information that's presented here. But again, we did a limited amount of information with this. It really is a testament to a lot of different collaborations with a bunch of different faculty. Again, the English department, all of the General Education Committee members played a really big role with helping writing this report, helping analyze the data, along with my co-chair, Bill Falls, in the physics department. So I think this is a really great story of the interdisciplinary collaboration that we've now seen with these ILOs.
Great, thank you. And as Erickson pointed out, they are posted on the Senate site. I will also be emailing them out on Thursday, and everybody's feedback is highly encouraged and wanted. So please take a few moments to read them over and let us know. All right. That's that one. Okay, so we've talked about this policy a few times, and it's the policy on individual instruction. And I'm going to call on Joanne again for that one.
You just want an update on
Yeah,
individualized
is it ready
instruction?
to be voted on?
It is not. It needs to be, it will come to the December Senate meeting. We went over this policy in our academic standards meeting, which just was last week. There was a very robust discussion about it. Many comments came out of it. I am now in the process of making the changes that were suggested during academic standards. And then it'll come and we will present it in the December Senate meeting.
Okay.
Soon as I get those changes made and approved by academic standards, I'll get it to you for your review for the December agenda. But basically, what was the end result of a lot of the discussion is that we should keep individualized instruction liberal and flexible as much as we can. But there were some decisions made about just certain deadlines in terms of when individualized instruction should be, the one that everybody was in favor of is that before individualized instruction should begin, it should be approved. So the instruction shouldn't actually start to take place until it's approved. But there were some suggestions that it would be a little bit more restrictive. Academic Standards was all in agreement that we should keep it pretty flexible. So anyway, that will come to you guys for December.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, Joanne. Hey, Derek. Okay, so the next thing we have on the agenda is the Academic Adjudication Committee and its process. So there's been a lot of concern and questions regarding the most recent Academic Adjudication Committee hearing that was held over the summer. So in full disclosure, I have asked the committee members and chair to respond to questions that were brought up from committee members, fellow faculty members, and I've been working with Petrina to come up with the answers to the requests of the committee. What happened with the adjudication committee is the result was not reported in a timely manner to the faculty member, as well as a few other issues. So we're going to be looking into the process and making sure that everything is in line with where it needs to be. So so I have the letter posted on the Senate site. So at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to refer this investigation to the College Senate Executive Committee. Jason, a second? John, thank you. Okay, so is there any discussion on what this report is asking for, or what the College Senate Executive Committee is going to be tasked with? Okay, all in favor? Those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, and the motion passes. So we will report out on this at the December College Senate meeting. All right, so we're going to take a little break in between, and Dr. Hakoy, we're going to move, you're going to be new business today. So I got your PowerPoint ready, and I'll get it up and running for you. Here's a clicker. It's an owl.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's been a while since I've been here. I try to make it whenever I can. I just want to give a plug for Guided Pathways. I was part of the team that was at Finger Lakes Community College, and it's a very impressive program. These are best practices that have been shown to be very effective at other institutions, and it fundamentally changes the way we look at how students go through from admissions through the program and on to graduation. And so it's a shift from, we talk about students probably not being college ready to asking whether the college is student ready and removing the obstacles to applying and any obstacles to completion. So I think it's very important that we've implemented the program and that we're going to give it a shot. Just like with snow in Western New York, you're never quite ready for when it's coming. And so similarly with Mills States, our next self-study is due August 2021. So Doug and Fabio, I don't know if they're, there's Doug. Went to a self-study workshop recently, and I'll be attending the Mills States Conference in Philadelphia early next month. So it's time again, believe it or not, for us as an institution to do a self-study. I'm going the wrong way. Okay. I just want to review with you the last process we went through, just to kind of give you a sense of what steps are involved and what will happen if we don't get our stuff together. So the last self-study was due in 2010, right? This was before my time, but apparently we didn't get the report in until a year later. It was submitted in 2011. Obviously, that does not leave a good impression on Mills States. Oh, I'm still going wrong there. Okay. So just as a little history, yeah. Sorry, it's a little too quick. So in 2011, we were issued a warning by Mills States with regards to the lack of sufficient institutional advancement, and we were asked to provide a monitoring report by March 2012. I still go the wrong way. And then we got a nice campus visit by the commission liaison in 2011. And then our monitoring report was accepted June 28, 2012. However, another monitoring report related to Standard 7 and Standard 14 was due on September the 1st, 2012, because we were not seen as complying with those two standards. And then the initial warning was removed, but the monitoring report for Standards 7 and 14 was due March 1st, 2014. Sorry, wrong way. The monitoring report was accepted in 2014. The periodic review report was due June 2017, and this is where I come in. Right after that. The periodic review report was accepted November 2017. We were issued a warning with regards to standards 5 and 6, and then a monitoring report for standards 5 and 6 was due September 1st, 2018. There was a campus visit by Sean McKittrich, our commission liaison. And then there was, if you recall, a campus visit by the evaluation team in October 2018. The monitoring report was accepted. The warning was removed. However, a monitoring report was required this year, October 2019. And the monitoring report was submitted on October 1st. And we expect a decision somewhere around the new year. So it was endless middle states, right? And I purposely walked you through it because we can go through it again. Meaning that we have an opportunity to do it right this time. One, obviously, is to get the initial self-study in on time. So let me give you the timeline. So this fall, the steering committee is being formed, and we have work groups with our co-chairs for this winter. Evidence inventory is to be developed in the spring of 2020. And then our first draft is to be complete December 2020, to be shared college-wide during the winter break. And the second draft is to be complete April 2021. Final revision summer of 21, and then submitted August 21. Okay, and then the campus visit in October of 21. Okay, with an action or a decision by the commission March 2022. Okay, so what can you and we do now? People will be reaching out to you to volunteer for the various work groups for the self-study. We're hoping that you be responsive to the requests, and then we will be providing information in various venues, including here at the Senate, throughout the next little while. Is that it? Oh, that's it. Any questions about this? Yes.
Our report wasn't on time. It was the 2010-2011 academic year. It was not late.
I was told it was late, but
But we did also, the reason why the commission didn't get back to us for so long is because after you submit the report, then they also need to send a committee here to visit, which I believe happened in the fall of 2011.
okay. Doug, do you know if our report was late?
Dan and I obviously are hearing the history, and the history that I heard was we submitted it, and when you submit the report, it first goes to your visit chair, and the visit chair has the opportunity to reject it it's water under the bridge, a lot of paper and monitoring reports. But I think the main message is, let's do this right. I'm sorry, I should be using a
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think the message is, we want to do this right. There's 7 chapters and a section on the requirements for affiliation. It's 100 pages, single-spaced max. So each chapter is 10 to 12 pages, single-spaced, and we're going to build it semester by semester. It's pretty straightforward. I think we're going to do a great job. And the goal really is to submit it, have the team come and visit, and have them approve it, and go away for 8 years. And that would be great. And I think we can do that. There's no reason we can't do that. The issues that we had around assessment and so forth, we so recently resolved. So I think we're in good shape, and I think we've got a timeline to move forward with those 8 chapters really nicely.
Okay, so what I basically wanted to clarify, because I was on that team that was doing the Middle States report at that time, and I certainly think our process could be improved, and I actually do quite believe right now that our process is in much better shape than it was at that time. But it was not sort of a, negligent thing that we submitted the report, that we did not make a deadline, in other words. So we
Yeah.
did make the
Okay.
deadlines.
Well, thanks for the clarification. Obviously, this was before Doug and I arrived, but there was a holdup as to whether the report would be accepted. And we're hoping that that doesn't happen, because that just pushes back our timeline. So I think if we get a good standing recommendation from Middle States, we're good for 8 years, right? That's a long time to be able to breathe. So let me strongly recommend we do it right the first time. Any other? Joy?
Will the work groups be the standards?
I'm not sure. I don't think they are. Are they according to the, Doug?
Yes, we had a choice, and we've chosen to do a standards-based report, which is the 7 chapters for the 7 reports, and either an 8th chapter on the requirements for affiliation and federal compliance, or to embed that within the 7 chapters that we have to decide on. But we're doing a standards-based report. Apparently, like 99.9% of reports use the standards-based approach.
Yeah. So I did ask about this. So we do have a choice with the self-study to go one of 2 ways. One is institutional priorities approach, which is a thematic approach that we get to dictate what we want to focus on in terms of the self-study. So I naively suggested that we might take this route with Fabio and Doug, because at my previous institution we did this and we saved us a lot of time, because you didn't have to go through all the standards, right? Like in a compliance approach. And then I was disavowed of that belief that it'd be less work, because not only do you have to do the priorities, but you also have to do the standards on top of that. So then, like, what's the point, right? So we will be doing the standard approach. Any other questions, comments? Okay, great. Anything else? Here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hakoy. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, so continuing with new business, we have updated the bylaws for the College Senate. So we've taken all the resolutions and bylaw changes that we've made in the last 2 or 3 years and compiled them on the actual document. So it is posted on the College Senate site. Please take a moment to read through them. Michael Rio, did you want to add anything for that?
No.
Well, all right then. So they're there. Please take a look. We had a lot of eyes on it, so pretty sure we got everything in there. But that's also the same people looking at the same documents over and over again, and it's possible to miss something. So please take a look, let us know, and we'll go forward with that. Okay, next up on new business is a Transportation Department request. Just pull that up there. That's okay. Okay. So, earlier in the semester, we had a presentation from Shannon from the Department of Transportation with all sorts of informative things, which was awesome. And since then, faculty have gotten some student complaints, so that's where this resolution came out of it. And Jason, I'm going to call on you because Kathy is not here. Because I think this came out of faculty caucus. Patty, were you there?
Thanks. Yeah, there was just a discussion in terms of lack of information and transparency, which we hear lots. People were wondering why decisions were made, what was the data, and could we have drilled down a little deeper on some of the questions that people had, because as faculty were having more and more feedback from our students saying it's not working for them, and that's critical. The whole purpose of the transportation system is to get students to class and home safely. And there was some anecdotal information, but we wanted to have more information come forward.
Okay. And then another piece with this is Shannon and I have talked about this, and she's asked me for like a spreadsheet with all the information that we've gotten from students, and we're in the process of compiling that. But one of the other pieces that was that we talked about is only one of the complaints actually got sent to the transportation office. So I think that's probably another, area where we need to make sure that we're forwarding complaints and things. So I think part of what this resolution will also do is to make sure that there is a clear path of communication. So can I have a motion to approve this request for a report? Patty? Cooper, second. And is there any discussion on this motion? Katrina? Oh, man, no microphone.
I was just hoping that maybe we could discuss a little bit about the bulleted item that deals with the discussion of the dorms. That was a college decision, and therefore, and I believe that Shannon covered that very well in her presentation. So I'm not sure that she's equipped to answer an institutional decision regarding the fact that additional stops were requested of the department as a result of us having a new partnership with Canisius, and so that is reflective of that question, and I'm not so sure it's fair for her to answer that.
No, that's fair enough. Any other questions or comments on the resolution? On the motion? Okay. All in favor?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this.
Those who abstain? Oh, and I forgot to say the other one first. Those opposed? Sorry, going out of order. Those opposed? Okay. Abstentions? Okay. And the motion passes. So for that, we will have those that I'll be supplying Shannon with the list of, that is in the process of being compiled, and then maybe we can get a meeting and go from there. And so we'll have Senate leadership reach out to your office to move forward on that. Okay, next up, we have Applied Learning Committee, Nate Wallace. All right.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nate Wallace. I am the director of a new unit at the college called Applied Learning and Global Engagement. So that new unit oversees international student services, and we are also charged with advancing 3 types of applied learning at the college, those being internships, service learning, and study abroad. So since this is a new unit, I asked Colleen if I could have a little bit of time to just do a quick overview of the present and future of applied learning at SUNY Erie. I'm also co-chair of the Applied Learning Committee, which is a Senate committee, so you'll be hearing me report monthly. I'm co-chair with Robin Bobowitz, who is from the General Studies Department. So I want to start with just some quick definitions about applied learning and global engagement. So SUNY has a definition of applied learning, and you can read it right there, but the gist of it is that when applied learning is done well, it's a virtuous cycle of learning in the classroom, applying that learning outside of the classroom, and then bringing that learning outside the classroom back into the classroom and starting all over again with that cycle. And there's no one definition of global engagement, but I like this one that I found. It's committed, meaningful interaction with the world. So engagement with the world, global engagement, doesn't just happen. We have to be committed to it. And when we're committed to it, we're able to create meaningful interactions for our students, our faculty, and staff. Okay, so that's the what. On to the why. Why is applied learning and global engagement important? Well, there's just a few things I want to highlight here. One is that it's been identified that applied learning of various different types of applied learning, not just the ones that my unit oversees, are high impact practices. Study abroad, service learning, internships, and many other types of applied learning are all high impact practices that increase learning, engagement, retention, and graduation rates. That's been proven in the research over and over again. There are also experiences that provide students with the soft skills that employers are looking for. So employers want students who have communication skills, collaboration skills, leadership, adaptability, motivation, and a global perspective. And they also prepare our students for a complex world, an increasingly complex world. The more we connect our students with the outside world, the more prepared they are to excel in an increasingly complex and diverse work environment. So ultimately, we are providing applied learning and global engagement opportunities because our students deserve an engaging and dynamic college education that fully prepares them for a complex and changing work and world environment. So, on to the how we're doing this right now. We're doing this with a two-pronged kind of structure that provides both the college-wide oversight and direction that's needed, and that is provided by the Applied Learning Committee, Senate Committee, along with my new unit at the college, which provides support to faculty to develop applied learning experiences, study abroad, internships, and service learning. So the Applied Learning Committee has a slightly revised charge. Since I took over as co-chair, in our first couple meetings, one of our first orders of topics of business that we had to do was to look at the charge and make sure it still works for us. And so we made some slight revisions. So this is our new charge. And our goals remain the same. Identify new applied learning opportunities for the college, develop strategies to report on applied learning activities, identify staff development opportunities to enhance applied learning at the college, and develop strategies to address SUNY applied learning initiatives. And as far as the unit goes, it's, as I said, a brand new unit at the college, comprised of parts of that already existed. International Student Services has been around for a long time at the college. We've had service learning and internships for a long time at the college. Study abroad we have had, but we've never had any kind of oversight or standard process and procedure, and so that's what I have been working on standardizing. So the mission of the unit, the Office of Applied Learning and Global Engagement, supports college faculty and staff in creating, promoting, and providing equitable access to high-quality applied learning and global education opportunities for all students. And I thought, since we're a new unit, that it's important to kind of come up with a vision statement. What do we want to do in the future? What are we trying to achieve? So SUNY Erie will provide students with the dynamic, experiential, and global education that is required in today's ever-changing work environment by becoming a college without walls, where applied learning and global engagement are vital components of the educational experience. And last but not least, who's doing this? So as I said, I'm co-chair along with Robin Bobowitz of the Applied Learning Committee. And then in International Student Services, we have Judy Overs, who is our case manager, who works with our international student services, our international students to help them succeed. We also have Joe Kernitsky. Joe, where's Joe here? Oh, there's Joe. Joe, sorry you didn't make the slide, but I'll make sure you get on it next time. But Joe. Stay under the radar. All right. Joe does additional duties. Joe is faculty who does additional duties to also support our international students. Internships, we have Blythe Kazmerzak, who recently went from part-time coordinator of internships to full-time coordinator of internships. Regina Lettieri coordinates service learning. And I oversee study abroad, putting the policies and procedures in place and helping faculty to develop study abroad opportunities for our students. So, any questions? Yes.
So we have an ILO for global perspectives, and also that's a Middle States requirement for global perspectives. So now that there's sort of a centralized way of managing this, how do you see this interfacing with the assessment aspect?
That's a good question, and I'm not sure yet. I think it's something that it's come up with Eric Nealons several times. We've talked about how we need to kind of figure that out and see what connections can be made between the new unit and the Applied Learning Committee and the Global Perspectives Learning Outcome. So that's something, since I sit on the General Education Committee, I think that's a good place to have some of those discussions. Yeah.
And as a follow-up to that too, we've had conversations just in passing about this. The Global Perspectives is a relatively new SUNY Erie ILO. And I think with the timing of this, it's an opportunity to integrate it. It can show how we're innovative as opposed to a traditional type academic setting or classroom to assess those. So I don't see it as necessarily prohibitive, and it could be a good opportunity to show how we're innovative in using this. And those conversations seem to be ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. I look forward to working with all of you to build that college without walls where, we're able to engage more deeply and broadly with not only the Western New York community, but with the world than we ever have before. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate.
Oh, I forgot to mention one thing.
Yeah, come on.
So the Applied Learning Committee, another one of our first orders of business is to fill out the membership of the committee. We're still looking for 2 at-large faculty members for the committee, so that can be teaching faculty or librarians. So if anyone is interested in filling one of those 2 posts, let me know.
Thank you. And the committee makeup is also posted on the Senate page. I think it's this one. There it is. So, yeah, so if anybody's interested.
My water bottle.
Oh, I like this water bottle. I think I might keep it. So there they are, but if this is something that interests you, obviously there are faculty divisional appointments that are done, so looking for other individuals that aren't part of those appointments. And they are at large. It's a really interesting committee too. I've sat on it before, and so if you're doing applied learning or have really great ideas, that might be a committee you might want to consider joining. Okay, so we're skipping Faculty Council of Community Colleges for now. Michael had to leave. There are some resolutions that FCCC is looking to have us endorse. So I will be emailing those out ahead of the next meeting so that you can look at those before then, and then we will look to endorse them at the December meeting. And then Mina is not here for a workday update, so I guess we're at for the good of the order. So again, just a reminder what for the good of the order is, it's a place where if you have a question or concern about anything at all, and you're not sure of where to find the answer or who to voice the concern to, whether it's something you personally or someone in your department, in your division, now would be the time to bring that up. Maybe someone in the room will have the answer, and maybe not, which means I will try to find the answer before the next meeting. Greg? Talk in the mic, talk in the mic.
I get these letters that apparently come from Workday, it says do not reply, and then I have a question about the email. One of them was the training. I had 2 people that have left the area, they don't work here anymore, they're still on the list, they haven't completed their training. So, but I get stuff that I don't know where it comes from, I don't know how to reply. So how do we reply or actually talk to somebody from Workday?
I would go to the computer help desk. There's a tab for Workday. Hang on a second. See if I can get there. It kicked me out. Of course it did. All right, so you can report an issue. And so you can kind of go through there and do that, or request something. And you'll see Workday is right on there as well, so you could click that and fill in exactly what it is. And so it'll go to the IT team, and then it'll be shot out to whoever it is that can address that. So any questions with Workday or any technology in general for anybody, your best bet, especially if you're not sure who to talk to, is go through the IT help desk, click whatever the option is. If there's an option on here that you don't see that applies to, you can still put in a ticket, because I've done that before as well. Greg?
So I did that. I reported it. I'm still getting the same 4 names on the email. One guy claims he did it. The other guy claims he'll get to it someday, and the other 2 are gone. So how do we fix it? If that's gonna fix
Oh.
it, I'll go to that one.
Tracy?
I didn't go to the ERP.
Why don't you send me the email and I'll take a look at it?
Okay.
Because if they're no longer here, we should remove them from Workday. But if no one's reported to us that the person has termed, then we wouldn't know that. So so why don't you just send me the email?
Wait, who's talking?
Tracy Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome.
Mary? Nope, you're good? Dave? I know they were reported, I believe, at the last board meeting. I don't have that off the top of my head. Steve, do you have that?
Not here at not here at this moment right now. We are still going through and computing file numbers, especially with our non-credit bearing students.
Okay. So maybe when we have that, I'll share that with the body. Okay. Any other questions or concerns? Joanne?
Two things real quick. The first is that Service Learning Committee. One of the pillars of Guided Pathways is to have high-impact learning experiences, and I agree with Nate that service learning is a very high-impact learning experience. After the Guided Pathways Conference, I think I brought it up to you, Colleen, it would be great, starting with Senate in the spring, if faculty members who are doing what they believe to be high-impact learning experiences could present those, maybe one each Senate meeting, and I would see that committee that you guys have as being a place where maybe those presentations could be coordinated, just to kind of get faculty thinking about these high-impact learning experiences and what others are doing and how they might be able to incorporate service learning in ways they don't even think about. So maybe that committee could sort of spearhead those, just like one presentation each Senate meeting or something like that for the next year, so we can see what everybody's doing. So that was a thought. I should have said it while Nate was up there, but.
That's okay. He's still there. We're good.
And the other is, I oversee general studies, and many faculty are now affected by advising general studies students. They have not done so in the past. The General Studies Office is very committed to helping in any way we can the faculty to advise the General Studies students. So there's the Blackboard course. Brian Millville and his secretary created a great one-page guide, like cheat sheet. I'm available really anytime if someone is advising to shoot me an email, or Lori. The General Studies offices are staffed with ISS staff, so if somebody has a question while they're advising, they can call down to the General Studies office, and we'll do the best we can. So just, if somebody is really unsure about advising, just let me know, and we'll have Lori Rovnick come and meet one-on-one with you, and give you some one-on-one training.
Great, thank you, Joanne. And I've seen the document and all that, and I've had discussions with faculty as well. And, if you run into any issues at all, make sure you do email Joanne or Jamie, whoever your dean is, but CC your department chair on there too, so that everyone's in the loop with any problems faculty may be having with this new responsibility. Any other comments, questions? Dana?
When and where is the next caucus?
The Faculty Caucus of the Senate
Yes.
will be, Jason?
It's actually next Tuesday, 2:30 to 4. It's at City Campus, and it'll be in the auditorium at City. And I'll be sending that email out later today.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so, wow, it's 3:30. Look at us. So the next meeting is Tuesday, December 10th. And thank you, everybody, for coming. And I wish you all the best in the final crunch of the semester.